Namaste and welcome to the Curvy Yogini Spotlight. Today we have with us Dianne Bondy. Hi, Dianne.
Hi, Dana. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed, and thank you so much for your beauty in Yes, Yoga Has Curves. I'm so excited about the release date.
I am too. I already pre-ordered my copy, so I'm excited.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
You're a very inspirational woman, and I follow you like everywhere you are online. So today it's going to be a great treat for our listeners. For those that don't know you, can you tell us when your yoga journey began and what inspired you to start practicing?
My mom, believe it or not, I'm here in Canada. I grew up just outside of Toronto, Ontario, and my mother had three children under the age of 4. She had a set of twins and me, so she could never get out of the house to do anything. She didn't drive. So she was highly stressed out, and she bought this book, and I meant to get it. It's on my bookshelf somewhere, called Stay Young with Yoga, and it was written in like 1956. And she got this book, and she used to open it when my brother and sister went to bed, and we would do poses. I was 3, my brother and sister were newborn, and she put them to sleep, and this was her time for herself. So she'd give me the book, and we'd pick poses we wanted to do, and we would just randomly do these poses. There's no flow or anything like that. And so that's when I got started. I was about 3 years old, and I just remember it being a special time with my mom. So it was something, she was really caught up with having 2 babies. I felt really left out because I wasn't a twin, so this was our together time. And she taught me a lot of the poses. I remember doing plow with her. I remember trying to get in a headstand with her. And it was something that we just continued throughout life. So I've been practicing yoga for 40 years. I've been in and out of it on and off for 40 years, and that was my very first journey with it. And it just helped sustain me. Once I got a little older, I got interested in more of the breathing and more of the philosophy. So I started doing a little reading, and I was a fitness instructor, so I would add my yoga poses because yoga wasn't popular at the time I was teaching. At the end, when we did our stretches, I would pull out my yoga book and pull a few stretches out, and people started asking me, well, what are we doing? What exactly is this? And I said, well, I have this book on yoga, and it's a little bit of yoga. And that's kind of how the ball got started, and it just kind of bloomed from there.
Awesome. So what keeps you coming back to your mat?
I think yoga is the one thing that I've never, ever fallen out of love with. I've run a bunch of marathons. I've, done a lot of working out, but it's something that I always come back to because it's something I can just do for me, and there's no competition aspect to it. And I love that I can just roll out my mat anywhere, and it's amazing. It's just what keeps me coming back is there's no judgment. It always feels good, and it always grounds me and sustains me. So I may go off and try something, cardio kickboxing or something for a while because I need a distraction. But the yoga is the thing that feeds my soul, and it just always brings me back.
So what does your practice look like? How often do you do it? And when you do it, like what is, how do you start out? Do you start out with the breathing and the meditation, or just go right into like sun salutation or something?
I always start out with the centering. My practice is primarily at 5:45 every single morning. I like to practice facing east in my house, and I can see the sun rise from where I'm seated on my mat. And I pay homage whenever I sit on my mat at that time. I kind of pay homage to everything that's happening in the universe, and it's this really special time where everything is quiet and the world's just starting to wake up. So it's a big connection to my spirit and my heart then. And I usually sit for anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes in meditation. I usually do like a gratitude meditation, and then I set an intention for the day, and then I start my practice. And I love vinyasa, I'm not gonna lie. When I came to yoga, I was primarily an Ashtanga Vinyasa junkie, and I did a lot of that practice. It was fast, and it was hot, and it was something I really enjoyed because I tend to be a little bit pitta. And then I learned about yin, and I learned about restorative, and so now it's really a hodgepodge. I just kind of feel my body and go. So if I'm having a day where my back is a little stressed or I have a lot on my plate and I'm feeling particularly stressed out, it might be a slower, sweeter practice. But if I'm going to be 100% honest, I'm a vinyasa girl. I love to just move my body and try fun stuff and figure out sequencing. That's the stuff that I love. I just love to feel like I'm with my breath in the moment. So.
Yeah, I'm a vinyasa girl too, so I'm right there with you. So, what advice could you give to someone that is having problems getting to the mat every day? And we talked with other yoginis, and I mentioned that you could do your practice in like 10 to 15 minutes a day. Ideally, it'd be great if you had an hour. But if someone's like, I can't find the time, the energy, it's just hard getting to the mat. What inspiration or what advice could you give to them?
I'm a big believer of the gift of 10 minutes, and that was something that my yoga teacher taught me. When I've done a lot of teacher training, but I really enjoyed when I was taking training in the style of Anusara. And one of the things our main teacher said was, even if you practice 10 minutes a day, it's worth something. And if you really want to do yoga, you'll make time for it, right? I grew up with the saying from my parents, where there's a will, there's a way, right? So if it's really important to you, you'll make the time for it. And let's face it, everybody can find 10 minutes. If you can find, and I tell my students this all the time, if you can find time to watch The Bachelor, you can find time to do yoga, because you need to just prioritize what's feeding your soul and what's just junk food for your soul, and that's just junk food, And so I say to people, some of the strategies that I use is roll your mat out next to your bed and don't bother getting changed. Set your alarm for 15 minutes earlier, get out, and if you step on the mat, then you have to practice. So then people start leaping over their mat just to not have to do that. Or I say dedicate a space in your house that's just for your yoga practice, and leave your mat out. Leave it out. Mine's in my living room, and every time I walk by my living room, I see my mat, and then I go on there, and I have this thing I call random acts of yoga. So I go on my mat and just do a random act of yoga. So it might be one sun salute. It may be a tree pose. It might be I just sit and breathe for 3 minutes. And I'll do that through the course of the day. I have a tendency to be working from home a couple of days a week, so I can just walk by my mat, sit on it, and do some yoga. So random acts of yoga can take as little as 30 seconds, right? How long does it take to do tree pose? Okay. And I find that's the way to get a little bit of yoga in all day long. And those random acts of yoga add up to a real practice. Because let's be honest, right? We're all busy. Nobody has 90 minutes to roll out a mat, maybe once a week, with your favorite teacher, but you can just incorporate it into your everyday. And even if I'm standing in line at the grocery store, I'll pick the longest line and I'll stand behind it and I'll meditate until I get to the front. I have to open my eyes every few minutes to move my cart forward, but I'm doing my yoga practice there. So I just squeeze it in wherever I can, and I just make it a priority. Like I schedule my life. I schedule my yoga. I put it in my calendar and I make it a priority.
Yeah. And I find it's amazing that it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to talk ourselves out of something that's good for us. So that time you're sitting like, well, I don't do yoga because I'm this. I'm like, you could just be on your mat doing something instead of complaining about not having time.
Oh yeah. My favorite saying to my class is make an excuse not to do something, make an excuse to do something. Really, if it's important to you, you'll get it done. And you got no problem scheduling your car for an oil change. You have no problem rotating the tires, the tires on your car. And you can find 10 minutes in your day to do something that's going to feed your body, your mind, and your soul. You need to check your priorities. Seriously, what's important to you? And we all know we feel better when we do it. So where's the disconnect, everybody? Where's the disconnect?
And everyone listen to wise words. It doesn't take a lot of time. A random act, cooking dinner, strike a tree pose or something. But
Exactly. It's not that hard, really.
So how does yoga help you to love and celebrate your body?
I'm going to be honest with you. When I first started doing yoga, I thought, okay, I'm going to get into my yoga very seriously. I'm going to practice every single day, and I'm going to only eat, raw vegan food, and I'm not going to eat any junk food, and I'm going to get really fit and really thin, because I've been there before. I've been really fit and really thin, and I thought, okay. And then the moment I got into my practice, it really invites you to be as you are. So I've been doing this roller coaster with my weight for 40 years. Okay, well, maybe not 40. Maybe I wasn't doing it when I was a little kid, but I started dieting when I was about 8. And so I've been doing this up and down and up and down and up and down. And finally, yoga said to me, it's not necessary. You need to come to the mat as you are. So I was miserable when I was a size 2 because I was hungry. And I was miserable when I was a size 20 because I didn't feel good about myself, and society let me know that I wasn't attractive or welcome. And so now I've kind of centered out, or kind of, I would say, balanced out in the middle of those two sizes. So, I range anywhere from a 14 to a 16 to an 18, depending. And it's the happiest I've ever been because there's no judgment on my mat. And I practice in studios in a space that I created where everybody is accepting of who you are as you are. So I don't go into that space and I don't feel that whole, look at her, she's not a size 0. So I've kind of learned I'm okay as I am because I have my yoga practice, and nobody can take that away from me. And I don't let anything limit me because I know I'm strong in mind, body, and spirit because of that. So it's no longer about how thin can I get and how fit can I be. It's about how balanced and how centered I can be because I have this wonderful practice. It never fails me. I can do it anywhere, and it takes a second to get into that headspace. It makes me grateful. It makes me alive. It connects me with everything. It changes the way I think about things. So these are the things that feed my soul.
That's beautiful, because yoga does change the way that we look at ourselves and at our world. I was a pretty grumpy person before yoga. Ask anyone in my family, and I still have things with my body. I look at it, but sure, yoga helps me see through the eyes of love. So whatever I'm looking at, I'm looking for the love. I'm not looking for the, oh gosh, I'm looking for the love. And it's great because it heightens our self-awareness, and a lot of times we're not really looking at ourselves. And you can't judge someone's physical stature and say, well, they're healthy or not. I think health is connected to happiness, and if you are truly happy, you're healthy.
I totally agree, and we can't be sending people messages that if you don't look a certain way that you're not healthy, and then you start beating yourself up because you don't look a certain way or you don't weigh a certain amount of money. So you start starving yourself, or you overeat because you feel bad about yourself, and we do this whole cycle. So what's better, that you accept yourself at where you're at and do the best that you can do, or do we create this whole disordered eating situation with people, or this unhealthy realistic or unhealthy ideal for people, or do we teach people to hate who they are because they don't look a certain way? And that's a whole other side of not healthy, right? So
it is. Yoga is good for self-love. So those that are watching this and you're still on the fence about, trying yoga, you heard you can try 10, 15 minutes a day. There's the benefits far outweigh anything that you may think it is. But it's wonderful because we can't look at someone else and say, well, they're better than we are. We all have our own, we all have something that's so wonderful and so beautiful about ourselves. So we should live from that to inspire other people to live from that. So
exactly.
Dianne, what's your favorite yoga asana and why?
Ask me that again. I got to sit with it.
What is your favorite yoga asana and why?
You know what? It varies, but I think one that's a constant is triangle. I don't know. I feel really free in triangle. I feel really strong in triangle, and I like this whole idea of rotating my whole body to the sky. I've been doing a lot of, I live close to the lake where I am, and there's this gorgeous park with a deck that goes right out onto the water. And so I've been doing a lot of yoga there. And when I do triangle as the sun is rising, I feel powerful. I feel strong. I feel connected. So I have to say, right now, Trikonasana is my favorite. I also, I likes me a pigeon every now and again when I'm feeling a little tight in my hips. And those are by far my favorite, my top two favorite.
Those two must be a Curvy Yogini favorite, because almost every yogini that I've interviewed says pigeon pose is their favorite. And the yogini I interviewed right before you said triangle pose is her favorite for similar reasons that you just said. So there's something out there. We might have to definitely have a Curvy Yogini challenge with those two poses. I love me some triangle, but me and pigeon, we're building a relationship.
Oh yeah. It just, I don't know. There's something spectacular about it. And I don't know. It's so delicious. I did a Facebook quiz a couple of years ago, and it said, what pose are you? And I ended up being half moon pose, and I was like devastated I wasn't triangle. I was like, you don't understand. Connect to my heart. How can this be right? Because you know, I'm 100% right all the time.
Right. Exactly. So Dianne, we know asana practice, it's great for the body, but equally important is what we do for our minds, and that's where the meditation comes in. What does your meditation practice look like? What does it consist of?
I'm a techno junkie. I get a lot of flack for being a techno junkie because some people feel it's not like a purist way to do things, but I have this app on my phone called Insight Timer, and it connects me with other people who are meditating all over the world, which I really like. And so because I'm kind of a goal-oriented person, and this speaks to my constitution, my meditation practice is primarily with my Insight Timer that I put next to my mat, and it keeps me on track because I like to track how often I meditate. I meditate anywhere and everywhere. I can meditate, for 30 seconds on something, or I can meditate like a kindness meditation on something, or a gratitude. I do it almost every day, and I can honestly say sometimes I do it several hours a day. If I find, or several minutes a day, I should say, not several hours. I find if I have 5 minutes anywhere, if I'm waiting, for my kids at school, or I'm waiting in a doctor's office, or I'm in line, I take it the opportunity to slow my breathing down and focus, because I have 2 small boys and a business, and my life is crazy. And if I don't take those moments to be still and to focus, I won't get them. And then I'll be constantly running, and then I'll start to get resentful that I don't have any time for me. When all actuality is I get to really choose when the time is for me, and it can be anywhere. So my meditation practice consists of whenever I can get it in, for as little as 30 seconds, for as long as 45 minutes. I take every opportunity. And I've actually been caught at my doctor's office meditating, because I'll put the timer right on the desk, and I'll sit sometimes in the doctor's chair, or I'll sit in front, and they'll come in and they'll wonder what I'm doing. And you know what they do? They always say, "Oh, finish your meditation." And I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. They say, "Go ahead, finish." And I'm like, "Okay, that's good. I've only, I've got the timer, so I see I've got 30 seconds left or whatever." And people are always intrigued, right, with that. And I find, I just try to incorporate it into my everyday. I don't try to make it something that has to be special, and I have to be in a certain place. I don't make it like that. Otherwise, I won't do it. But if I know I can just get there, then that's what I do.
So random acts of meditation.
Random acts of meditation. That's my life. Random acts of lots of things.
So, taking all that, your meditation, your asanas, and we know that yoga, it brings up a lot, and we work through a lot of things on that. How do you take those wonderful lessons that you've learned about yourself through asana and through meditation? How do you take that into your world off of the mat?
I think it makes me a better parent. It makes me calmer. Prior to my taking on yoga as my primary career, I worked in audit for a government agency, and I was miserable a lot of the time. And I didn't see the gratitude in being alive. I didn't have compassion for people who didn't get their work done, or who I felt were not contributing all that they can contribute. It's yoga and meditation that taught me to see the bigger picture, that it's not what I think it is. You know what I mean? It stopped me from making a lot of snap judgments on people, then making those judgments on people and reacting to those people based on the judgments I have in my head, which may be true or not true. It's made me a lot more open and honest, and to see like the bigger picture, right? It's made me more aware of how I think about things and how I treat people and what are the consequences of my actions. Because before I would just kind of barrel through life and I didn't really care. I'm embarrassed to say, when I was an auditor, if I could make you cry, isn't that awful? I'd be okay with that, and that's not cool, right? And you know, and now I have regret for those actions, but before I wouldn't have cared. And that's the big change, you know, and that's the big way I use my yoga. And it's made me non-reactionary, right? Like I try not, well, I shouldn't say that. I have moments where I react, but it's made me less reactionary. It's given me that pause between myself and what's going on. So there's this, it slows everything down so I can pay attention and see the entire picture as opposed to just having snap judgments, for sure. It's definitely made me softer. Definitely made me softer.
Yeah, I tell you, yoga made me a less grumpy person. You know, so I can understand that. And it's so amazing that doing something for yourself helps you to be better to other people. And, you know, people don't realize that when you take that time, and you said, you know, give yourself permission, choose to take time for yourself. You know, we don't understand that when we're giving so much and doing so much, that regret that, you know, gosh, you're taking my time, you're stealing my time. You start to really get angry at other people, so you think, but you're really angry at yourself for not taking the time that you need to be balanced. But yoga is great because it makes you a better person for yourself first, and then for other people around you. Yeah.
It affects everything that you do. Right? It changes the way you see your entire world. And it for me, honestly, it made me love myself. And like you said, once I really loved myself, it was really easy to love the world.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Look at me. I'm sorry. Having a moment. Having a moment.
It is that. It is that. I would say that yoga has brought me home. And my home is my happiness. You know, who knew what happiness was? I thought I knew what it was, but I didn't. I didn't know that this thing, it was like right here the whole time, and I was ignoring it. I was with myself. I was growing, and I was, but it was right here. So yoga brought me back home. And even though stress still happens, I remember I'm home. I'm still home. And I can choose to be crazy. I can choose to be angry and blaming, or I can just choose to close the door, retreat within, and just,
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's perfectly said, Dana. Perfectly said.
So, Dianne, are you involved in any Save It efforts, any community service?
We have a huge charity that we have here in my hometown of Windsor. It's called Yoga for Hope. And as a community, we raise money to help people receive treatments for critical illnesses that they may not be able to afford, or alternative methods of treatment, so more holistic methods of treatment that may not be covered under our traditional health care. So that's my big grassroots contribution that I love. And we raise money, and it stays within our community, and it helps people who are struggling. And for example, last year I worked with a person who she was dying. She was stage 4 cancer, and she wanted to do yoga, and it was part of helping her deal with, you know, the outcome of her life. And I was able to go to her house and offer yoga to her at her convenience because she was still undergoing chemo treatment. She couldn't come to, a studio because her blood count was so low, and her white blood cell count was so low. So I was able to go and provide that for her. I like to do that one-on-one community based Seva. I haven't done anything like internationally, but I look for opportunities that are close to home, and those are my big challenges: helping people live, or I guess causes, helping people live successfully. And she passed away, and it was sad, but I was glad that I was there to help her. No, I'm going to get emotional. In her final days, and help her connect and improve the quality of her life for whatever time she had left. And I was recently just invited. Another one of my friends is battling leukemia, and I was invited to do a hospital, go to her hospital. The hospital let us go out on the lawn, and all her friends came and did a practice for her. And that's the way I like to give back. And it was nice to be in that energy and in that space. And I would do that for anybody who is battling with a critical illness. I like to help them. I know how much yoga has helped me. The good news is my girlfriend will make a full recovery. I truly believe that. So she's got a yoga spirit. So that's the type of Seva projects that I like to be involved in.
I mean, and I always tell my my trainees and my teachers at my studio, it is so rewarding to give this back, especially to people that don't have access to it, to really show them that, they do have the power within themselves to be happier, to be healthier. And, it feels good. So if you're watching and you're a yoga teacher, look in your community and see where you can go ahead and share this gift of yoga, because it's needed. It's needed.
It's beautiful. I love to share it in the school system. We're actually raising money for Camp Brombell in Windsor, and it's run by our local Windsor Police Services, and it gives kids who wouldn't ordinarily get an opportunity to go to camp, and we raise money all year for them to go to camp. And then we offer all kinds of activities. We have like a soccer pro come out and teach them, soccer drills. Each of them, we've been so fortunate that local businesses will donate a bike. So each of them leave camp with a brand new bike, and we go and we do yoga. And we do a community karma class every week to raise money for that. And we do that all year round. And then we throw this big camp, and it's amazing to see these kids who don't have all the opportunities, get an opportunity to have a summer like any other kid. So.
Yeah. And, that's where their adulthood begins, so to speak. I have a 12-year-old girl, and my son will be 3 years old. Boys are different. They're very different.
Wow.
But I started them both with yoga very young. And I'm just looking, and I've done stuff in my daughter's school, and I'm like, wow. If we can get them at this stage to have greater self-awareness and greater self-love, as adults, they'll be wonderful, more wonderful. They're already going to be wonderful, but they'll have such a better chance, I would say if I had yoga in my life when I was younger.
Oh, yeah, they'll change the world. My sons are 7 and 9, and they've been doing yoga since they were 2 weeks old. I did it all through my pregnancy. I did it on the day I gave birth to Dylan at 10 o'clock that morning. And they have been yoga babies from the beginning. And what's the great thing about it is I have strategies for when they're fighting. I don't know about your kids. My kids fight all the time. When they're fighting, it's good to have them come back to their breath, and they have skills and strategies to stay focused. And I really believe that's why they've been so successful at school, is they have that ability and the ability to know how to deep breathe and work through stressful situations. So it's true. I mean, I saw a post on Facebook one time that said if we could get every 8-year-old to meditate, we could change the world.
I believe it. And it just, we have to take the time to teach them. You know, kids
Yeah.
are going to be a little different than adults doing meditation and yoga. So it just takes a little bit more time, but it is worth the time investment. It is.
It definitely.
So Dianne, who inspires you?
Mm, so many people. So many people. I'd have to say my number one inspiration is my mom, because she's so strong. She's had a tough life, and she's had a lot of, bad things happen to her, but she's been strong and resilient and compassionate in the face of that. I'm inspired by you, Dana. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there, to put out a book like Yes, Yoga Has Curves. You don't see that very much in mainstream media, and I think it's so courageous to put it together, to put it out there, and to bring attention and awareness to it. This is going to sound corny. I'm inspired by actually your president. I see him up there struggling, and I feel horrible for him, and he still keeps going. And, he's a great example for my boys that if you believe in something, it can happen. I loved it when Lupita in her Oscar speech said, this just, goes to show you that wherever you are, whoever you are, your dreams are still valid. And it's people like that who stand up and who are different that inspire me. My girl Anna Guest Jelly for Curvy Yoga, Tina Veer, anybody out there who has put themselves out there without apology to show that diversity is important, that we are all included in this process, that we all come from the same source. And those are the things that inspire my heart, and those are the things that make me want to move forward and do important things and make a change in the world. And those are the people who inspire me.
Awesome, and I thank you for that. So, Dianne, tell us about your online yoga studio.
My love, my third child. Yes, I have an online yoga studio called Yoga Stand. I'm hoping that Dana will one day be on Yoga Stand.
Yes.
It is a video subscription site where I feature yoga for all abilities, all body types, all genders. So when you go on the site, you're not going to see what you see in mainstream media. You're going to see actual local amazing teachers that are mostly here in Windsor. I have a few teachers who are actually from the United States as well, who do wonderful yoga classes and teach to all abilities, all sizes. So that is my passion. I just got tired of going on other online sites and not seeing myself or picking classes that I thought would be basic and weren't. We feature a lot of classes for bigger bodies, so for people who feel maybe a little bit shy going into a yoga studio because they are a certain size, we feature modifications for bigger bodies. I'm really proud. One of our students recently got up into headstand, and she's 300 pounds, and she said, I know, it just goes to show you safely, effectively. It goes to show you with strategies and props and determination, all poses are available to everyone. We may just need to modify them and change the way we look at them. But she sent me a message saying, I never in my life thought it would be possible. And it's happened. So it's a really great resource for people who might have challenges in regular classes. And we also offer yoga for people who are very fit and very flexible and are looking for a really solid, strong practice as well. So it really runs the gamut of the raw beginner who has never seen a yoga mat before to an advanced yogi who's interested in learning how to do bakasana or how to do handstand and just pretty much everything in between. And my husband and I are the people who work on this website. We put our heart and soul into it. We tape the videos right here in my home studio, and A few people have submitted their videos from around the world. We have a teacher who's in Jamaica. Her name is Nadine McNeil, and she's put together some nice videos with a very Caribbean flair. So it's really something that's really diverse in its offerings.
And you know, guys, it's 24/7. Who's not online? If we can be on Facebook, we can be on Yoga Staya. So, Dianne, can you spell the web name for us?
Yeah, Yoga Staya. It's YOGASTEYA.com. We have classes that range from 5 minutes, so no excuses, all the way to 2 hours. So if you have the time to roll out a 2-hour practice, we can hook you up. So, and we have a number of series. We have a beginner series. We have series videos for larger bodies. Our beginner series is super popular because it offers you a lot of modifications that if you accidentally wind up in an advanced class, you can make your way through the class without feeling like you've fallen behind. So I'm very proud of it. We have pranayama tutorials, meditation tutorials, and what I also love is we have like a social wall on the website, so people ask me questions and I create content on what people ask for. So either they'll ask me on my Facebook page, which is Dianne Bondy Yoga, they'll send me a question, and then I'll either create a video around it or do a little short, 5-minute snippet. And the content for Yoga Staya is driven by the members. So the members tell me what they want, and I provide the content.
Awesome. And Dianne's website is also listed in the Curvy Yogini resources, and Yes Yoga Has Curves. So we put you in there, so you'll be able to see it when you get your book. Good.
Awesome. I'm so excited about the book.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm so excited about the book. I can't wait.
I am too. Like, I'm sitting there like, when is it going to be? So I can't wait to get all these copies on my doorstep. I've had to.
Isn't that incredible? Yeah. Are you going to sign them all?
I think I am. I'm just going to just grab a glass of wine and just get it set.
My copy's going to need to be signed.
Oh, yes, it will. It will. And then we are also putting together a tour. So, we'll go around, and ideally, I would love to go to all of the places that you wonderful ladies have come to me from. And maybe we can just do like a little pop-up, Curvy Yogini expedition or something. Still working on it.
Oh, that would rock. See? Girlfriend, you're an innovator, right? I love that pop-up Curvy yoga experience. Good. I think that's awesome. That's completely awesome.
Well, Dianne, I have just one more thing to ask of you. Can you finish this sentence for me? I love my curves because
they make me who I am. They provide me with substance. They make me strong.
Yes. Very beautiful. Thank you so much,
Thank
Dianne.
you.
You are an inspiration. Please check out Dianne at yogastaya.com. On Facebook, Dianne Bondy Yoga. She's great. She has a lot of great content. All of her instructors have great personalities just like she does. So check her out. She's doing great things, and we're honored to have her in the book, Yes, Yoga Has Curves, which by the time this interview comes out, it will be already printed and in my garage waiting for you to get it.
Thank you, Dana, for inviting me to be part of your epic and important work. I'm honored to be considered. I'm honored to be invited, and it was my absolute pleasure to have spent this time with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank everyone for taking the time to watch this wonderful interview. Visit us on Facebook, Yes Yoga Has Curves, and online, YYHC.com. Have a wonderful day, and namaste.
Namaste.